Hello all and welcome to another Kevin Entertainment video. It's our here with the book review for Star Trek The Brave and the Bold by Keith RA DeCandido, Book 1. I don't know what else to call it but Book 1 because they don't have like separate titles. But I can tell you this begins the Star Trek lit verse read through, and we started with the crossover section. It ranges from the Enterprise crew, the Scott Bakula crew, to the TOS crew, Kirk, Spock, everything like that, to DS9, Cisco, Major Kira, all that, to TNG, Picard, Riker, all that, and finally Voyager. So it's the complete Berman-verse, if you will. It's not the Kurtzman era that we're in now. It's the Berman-verse. Some could say, and some would argue, like I would argue, it's the better verse of what we've been through, let me tell you. So, is this book any good and who should read it? I don't think this is where I would tell a brand new reader to Star Trek to start out with the Star Trek lit verse. I would say start out with either The Captain's Oath or A Death in Winter or A Time, or Star Trek A Time to Die, which are all three. The Captain's Oath is the TOS starting point. A Star Trek A Time to Die and Star Trek Death in Winter are both Star Trek TNG, The Next Generation, starting points. The reason I say that is because you kind of have to have a background in Star Trek to understand the Brave and the Bold series, or the Brave and the Bold duology crossovers. Not saying they're not good, they're amazing, but you have to have that as a reference or a pre-reference, if you will. So that's what you kind of have to have. Now, is the book good of its own merits? Well, I can tell you this: Keith R.A. DeCandido, now referred to as R.A., just so I can stop saying Keith R.A. DeCandido, understands Star Trek to the nth degree. He gets it. He builds up the stakes in the very beginning and carries those stakes throughout while touching on the characters' personal lives and making the living, breathing crews that he deals with in this book, which in this book it's Enterprise and TOS and a little bit of DS9 as well. But he lets it breathe, he lets it happen, and he tells a cohesive, coherent story throughout. He tells an excellently, cohesively, coherent story throughout, which is amazing. It's excellent, and it needs to happen. Like I said, the tension's ratcheted up. He gets the characters. The dialogue isn't too much. It's not too wordy. It's on point, and it gets the point across while making the characters from the shows that we know and love accurate to their portrayal, as well as making his new characters from ancillary parts both believable and a viable part of the universe. It's an excellently written book. I haven't started book 2 yet, but it is on the list to begin at the time of filming this, so it is on the list to begin, and it's an excellently done book. So if you're a Star Trek fan and you have a background in the Berman-verse, whereas you've read some John Von Holt, some Peter David, or you've seen at least all 4 of the shows, well, all 5 of the shows I mentioned, Enterprise, TOS, TNG, DS9, and Voyager, that's 5. If you've seen all 5 of the Berman-verse and Roddenberry-verse shows, then you're good to go with reading this. And you will be let in with kind of not so subtle hints and also subtle hints of where it takes place in the timeline of each crew's voyage. So he's very good at connecting the dots and dropping in there right on the timeline where this goes. And I think that's truly, truly, truly amazing. I think that's excellent. And it's one of my favorite reads of Star Trek in a long time that hasn't been either Michael Jan Freeman or Peter David. And maybe we'll find out some good authors. Maybe at the end of the Star Trek Litverse, I'll do a top authors list. And maybe I'll do a bottoms author list. But I can tell you that this story is... And the fact that it's only like 225, 265 pages, whether you go by mass market or Kindle version, which I had access to both. If you go by that, it's a short, concise read, but it tells you a complete story within those pages while leaving you on a cliffhanger at book 1, because book 2 did happen, does happen, and did come out. So it has to leave you with a little bit more to stretch, but it's an amazing read. It does end, the book 1 does end with my 3 least favorite words in the English language when it comes to any book, and that is "to be continued." To be continued is the most annoying phrase in the English language. If you're a fiction fan of any type, think of the season 4 and 5 TNG cliffhanger, Locutus Aborg, Brave, and all that. It's rough, let me tell you. But what do I give it? Well, on the GoodReads scale, I give it a 4 out of 5. And on my own scale, it's a read it, own it, love it. It is I'm going to give it a number. For me, on my personal scale, I use 1 out of 10. I don't know why. I just like 1 out of 10 better. So I'm going to give it 8 cups of Earl Grey tea out of 10. It is a read it, own it, love it on my scale. It is a must-read for any Berman Star Trek fan, Rick Berman Star Trek fan. It is great news, but at least the first book is amazing. And I'm betting that Keith R.A. DeCandido is going to know how to close it out right. Let me know in the comments down below if you intend to read the Star Trek Brave and the Bold, or if you're excited to read some of the Star Trek Litverse. You know, the Litverse read-along and the attack plan is coming on Wednesday, so you guys will see that on Wednesday. But without further ado, you know I make videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday, 12:30 p.m. Central, 10:30 a.m. Pacific, 1:30 p.m. Eastern. Please like, comment, subscribe if you want to see more. Please ding the notification bell to be notified when I upload a video. And without further ado, happy reading! I'll see you again soon. Live long and prosper. And peace.